I love a good floristry book, and I've recently bought this book called A Guide to Floral Mechanics. It's all about acknowledging that floristry is changing, and instead of using flower foam for the base of our arrangements, the encouragement is to go foam free. Hello there, I'm Julie from Julie Davis Flower Workshops and Flower Star, the online flower arranging classes. Now, interestingly enough, this book is recommending that I anchor my pin holders using museum wax. If you've not seen it already, this book is absolutely fantastic, and I'll leave a link to it in the description box below. It's not a how-to in terms of designing, it's very much down to how to make your arrangements without using flower foam. Quick flick through and I'm sure you'll quickly decide whether it's the book for you. And there's pin holders. Well, these are what they look like close up, with steel pins and quite a weighty base. Sometimes I use mine just by putting them straight inside my container, but you may find if you're using particularly heavy or woody materials that you need to anchor it firmly to your container. Usually my go-to for fixing my flower frogs is a product called Floral Fix, which is made by Oasis, and it comes on a reel. This is quite a small reel. Originally it held about a metre's worth, but you can get them on much larger sizes. And you peel it off, and it's got a piece of tape on one side which you peel away. You don't need that, and then you're left with this green sticky tack. Now, I've never used museum wax, so I've ordered this online. If you'd like to find out more about the museum wax or where you can get hold of the Floral Fix, I'll leave links to those in the show notes underneath the video. So this is a wax. It's telling me that it is a non-toxic, non-acidic and reversible way of fixing items to stop them falling over, and is earthquake proof. And it comes in a pot like this. You can see the clear wax here, and it's got this little wooden applicator, and what you're advised to do is to use that to scrape away at the wax, and then warm the wax up in your hand, roll it into balls or sausages, and then attach that to what you want to make firmly secure. So it's like using really soft, pliable candle wax. I'm going to roll mine into a sausage, and the reason for that is, again, it's conventional wisdom. If you want to fix your flower frog, your pin holder in place, is to make a sausage of wax and then put that circle of wax or your Floral Fix onto the back of your pin holder. Just like that. So I thought the thing to do would be to test out the museum wax against the conventional Floral Fix. So I'm trying to do this in a semi-scientific way. So cutting off my strip of Floral Fix, doing exactly the same thing, rolling that into a sausage shape, taking my same size pin holder. You just need to make that a little bit longer. So same size pin holder, and I'm going to attach both the pin holders to identical containers. So the only identical containers I could find with flat bottoms in order to take the Flower Fix, the pin holders, were these two soup bowls which I've recently thrifted. And the way to attach your pin holder to your container is to, I'm going to push centrally, but put it into the middle of your bowl and then push down. I've read recently that you push down not only to fix it in place, but also expels the air, and it creates a vacuum between the dish and the bottom of your pin holder. And I can just see slightly that the Floral Fix is, oozed out a little bit and feels quite firm. So you're pushing it down, and I give it a little bit of a twist, and that holds in place. And I guess the true test of whether this is an effective way of holding your pin holder in place would be to turn it upside down. I'm slightly nervous about doing this, but will it hold in place? Yes, I'm getting an immediate hold. And then the next thing to do would be to add my water in the conventional way and see whether it's still held. Of course, I'm not going to then put a a dish of water straight over my head, I'm going to get wet. Now I'm not actually going to arrange flowers in this bowl because it's not deep enough to get enough water in there to keep the ends of my flowers in water. So I am going to set up a similar little arrangement in a much deeper bowl, which I didn't have two of, and then I shall actually do some flower arranging. So let's try the same thing with my museum wax. Now I did notice when I read the book on floral mechanics that it said that the museum wax will need time to harden before it gives a really firm fix. And it suggests that you fix your mechanics in place up to 12 hours before you want to make your arrangement. So that's right. And for me, that's creating a little bit of a sort of user problem. Do I actually want to wait 12 hours before I can do my arrangement? But perhaps that's just one of the things we have to get used to when we're moving away from using floral foam. And it's that speed and ease, isn't it, of the floral foam? We thought nothing about the environment and what the foam was doing as a single-use plastic. And perhaps now is the time just to slow down, shop more locally for our flowers so they haven't got all those air miles attached, and also just take the opportunity to be a bit more mindful, a bit, and engage our senses in a slower way, and to make flower arranging an enjoyable activity right from the thought process to when it eventually ends up in the compost heap. So in the spirit of testing out the museum wax, again slightly with some trepidation, I will turn my dish over, mindful of the fact that the recommendation is that I have this in place for 12 hours before I use it. If I take my hand away, is it going to hold in place? And it is holding in place. How long dare I hold it like that? I'm not quite sure. But what I do need to be sure is once I've added my water, that it's not going to weaken the bond. Now, when you are using a pin holder to make your flower arrangement, as I said right at the beginning of the video, you don't always have to anchor it additionally in place. The weight of the bottom of the pin holder should be sufficient to hold it in place. This is just a matter of belt and braces really to make sure it's not going to slide around. And that's probably the reason why you would want to anchor your pin holder in place, is that as you're arranging, you don't want it slipping and sliding when you're trying to precisely arrange your flowers in a pleasing way. Once you've finished making your flower arrangement, of course you're not going to move it, you're just going to put the container on one side and enjoy your flowers until they go over, and you can easily take the arrangement apart. Wash your pin holder. I tend to do this in boiling water just to get rid of any bacterial detritus that's left behind. Let it dry and then put it in the cupboard, ready to use again. Now on that point of ready to use again, the museum wax is reusable, so you would, if you wanted to take your, whether it's the museum wax or the floral fix, you just need a firm hand to twist the pin holder off and it will come away. And the advice, if you do find it a little bit sticky, is to take a bit of dental floss or fishing line and just hook that underneath the pin holder and sort of saw it backwards and forwards, and that will lift off the museum wax. And with everything you do for the first time, you just need to test on a piece of crockery that you're not particularly bothered with if it gets damaged or dirty. You may find you need to chisel off the residue, perhaps with an old palette knife, or even to wipe any residue away, perhaps with white spirit or even lemon essential oil. And as I said before, the floral fix is waterproof, so I can put water on this straight away. I'm just not quite so confident with the museum wax because it's the first time that I've used it, and I think really I need to let it harden off and set before I add my water. So there's my water added to my container. I'm not going to tip it over my head to see what the fix is like, but I'm trying to just gently wobble it from side to side, and it is still holding firm. And with the other one, with the museum wax, I'll probably leave that an hour or so just so it can harden off a little bit, and then add my water and give that a little bit of a wobble too. But at the moment it seems to be holding quite firm. So while I wait for that wax to harden off, I'm going to set myself up with another pin holder and a slightly deeper container. I just need to make sure, what I've done here is to make sure that my pin holder has got a flat surface that is large enough that it's going to be able to sit on the flat part of the bowl. This has got a tiny little of a well at the bottom. I just want to make sure I've got a really good grip, so hence a slightly larger flower frog, just to accommodate the more shaped bowl here. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing with my floral fix, fill up with water, and then across on the side here I've got some flowers that are probably on their last legs a little bit. They've been on my patio table for a week or so now, so I might just amuse myself and not do any talking, but show you how I would then arrange my flowers on the pin holder. And there's my finished arrangement, just a pretty posy of zinnias, hydrangeas and sedums for my garden. They're not looking quite their best, as they have been in that green vase for at least a week, if not 2 weeks now. But it's always good to have a practice with your flowers before you put them onto the compost heap. So I've given my museum wax time to harden off. It still feels firm, so perhaps rather than waiting the 12 hours, I can have a go and put the water in and see how well that holds up. Give it a little bit of wobble. It feels just as secure as the floral fix here. So what one would I use in the future? Well, I've just bought myself a brand new tub of museum wax, so that is the one I will be using going forward as I'm running out of the floral fix. I will say with the floral fix that over time it does dry out, and if you're really careful you can wrap it up and use it a second time For me, I think I'd probably stick with the museum wax, partly because I've just bought a brand new tub and I'm running out of the Floral Fix, but I know that I can reuse the museum wax. I just need to scrape it off the back of the pin holder, put it back in the plastic tub, and then when I'm ready to use it again, warm it up in the heat of my hands and mould it into that sausage shape so I can use it again. And I wonder whether you've had an experience of reusing the Floral Fix. Have you had any success in scraping it off the back of your pin holder, scrunching it back up again, and then reusing it on another pin holder? Again, I'm really interested to know, so do let me know in the comments. But for now, I think my vote goes to the museum wax. And the other thing that sways me towards the museum wax is I'm going to get double duty out of it. Not only can I use it for my flower arrangements, but I can also use it to secure decor pieces around my home. So any particular vase or ornaments I don't want to slip out of place, or even if I want to straighten a picture, I can put a bit of the museum wax in one corner of the frame just to hold it absolutely square against the wall. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that video. If you've got a preference for the floral foam or the museum wax, do let me know. I hope you enjoyed the video. And don't forget to subscribe for more flower arranging content. That's all from me for now, and I'll see you again next time. I always forget at the end of the videos, I do have a free Facebook group, so if you don't want to chat here on YouTube, you're more than welcome to hop over to my Facebook group called Flower Start World and share your thoughts and comments on museum wax versus the Floral Fix next time you're using your metal pin holders.